Welcome to the T-Row Show. Transmitting truth one week at a time.
Welcome to the 30th episode of the T-Row Show. We do appreciate all the subscriptions. We broke 500 today. Yay! 27,000 listens of the T-Row Show. And so we do appreciate it. It's only been up for about 7 or 8 months. And we do appreciate all the people listening and to the program. This is your host, Keith. Tony and Stuart here. Say hello, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, this is going to be a fairly short T-Row Show this time. We're going to tell you why. The first thing we have to do is make a couple of statements and specify the basis and foundation of the program, but with maps. So everybody's going to be seeing maps today and some boundary stones and things like that. So the very first thing I want to talk about is you have the United States of America, and that's the 1789 Constitution, the United States of America, and it's a lowercase t. The original Confederacy of 1781 had an upper and lowercase, so it was a capital T. Very specific in the style. Now, styles are extremely important. You can't have a Sears and Roebuck, okay, and put a comma in Sears. If you put a comma in Sears, it's not Sears and Roebuck. If you do the same thing with Walmart, if you do the same thing with McDonald's, you put something in there that's different from what the original entity was, it's not the same thing. That's why you can, when they have fake Rolexes, you can tell if it's a fake because it's a different name. That's what they call fake. So if you have if anybody's seen Coming to America, that movie with Eddie Murphy, which was hilarious, by the way, they had McDowell's instead of McDonald's. So it wasn't McDonald's, it was McDowell's. So they changed it. They had golden arches instead of the golden arches, they had the golden arcs. Okay, and there was differences in sesame seeds and things like that. So it was a fake McDonald's. You can do the same thing with Papa John's. If you change the name or anything of that nature, it becomes a fake product. Fake, fake, fake. Okay?
If I can expand a little bit on that, and also if you try to register an entity in one of the corporation's state, the Secretary of State of that particular corporate state would not register that entity if you wrote it out one way and halfway down the page you named it, you added an apostrophe somewhere where it's not supposed to be, or a capital letter where it's not supposed to be, because it is a different entity, and that's why that's why the SOS would not register that entity, because they're separate, they're different.
Right. They'll say the basic answer will be you can't register two businesses at the same time. That's what they'll tell you.
Yep.
You just change one little thing, a comma, you change a period, you change anything about that, upper and lowercase, all lowercase, all uppercase, anything about that, it changes everything. It's a completely separate business. So when you have the United States of America, lowercase t, that's different, completely different from the United States of America, upper and lowercase. Completely different entity. That being said, this is a map of the United States of America. See the upper lowercase t right here? They're very specific about it. Okay? So this is the United States of America, right here. According to the map, according to this and the way that they do it. We're not saying it is, we're just saying this is, we're establishing a few foundations here before you see what you're about to get hit with. Okay? So according to today's world and according to the popular belief, this is what they consider the United States of America. which means it's just nothing more than a conglomeration of the states that are mapped out in an area. Okay, we say that it's the United States of America, upper and lowercase t. That's the name of the country. But the popular belief is it's the 1789 Constitution under a federal republic. Okay, now let's show you where the United States is. Stu?
Yes.
All right, I'll stop sharing if you want to show them where the United States is and then the jurisdiction of the United States.
Stand by. Okay, should be screen sharing at this point. If you'll notice up top here, there's Bank of New York Mellon. Contact us page for the corporate website. If you scroll on down, we see office location. Corporate headquarters, 225 Liberty Street, New York, New York, United States. Right there.
Okay, we've established in past T-Row shows that there is no United States in the White House, Pennsylvania Avenue address. There is no United States there.
That's right. You would write the president at Washington, D.C. 22222 zip code.
Right.
Whereas if you're contacting corporate headquarters here, you're writing New York, New York, United States.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Now show them the boundary stones or the jurisdiction of.
Okay, I'm going to scroll up just to show them where we're at. If you notice, the URL is boundarystones.org. Anybody can go to this website, boundarystones.org. And this particular page is Boundary Stones of the District of Columbia. And we scroll down through some text, and here's our map. And these represent boundary stones. Over here on the right in particular is Maryland, up here too. Okay, and then here's DC. If we click on this particular stone here, we get a boundary stone that states jurisdiction of United States here on the right and Maryland here on the left. Let me go back to that previous page. So this boundary stone right here that we'll pull up one more time is showing you that over here is Maryland. Over here is not Washington. That's not what the stone said. The stone says jurisdiction of United States.
Okay. So we've established that the Bank of New York Mellon is the United States, which is on Manhattan Island, New York. That's why they call it an island. That is the United States. You have the jurisdiction of the United States, which is different from the United States. It's just a jurisdiction. They would call it a territory, and that would be the District of Columbia that everybody's known about. It's right there in front of you. These boundary stones have been on there since, what, 1792? They've been on there for a long time.
The head looks old.
Yeah. Okay, then you have Maryland on the left. So there's your boundary stones right there. So nobody can say that we're saying that this is a conspiracy theory or anything else because it's in stone.
That's right, chiseled in stone.
Okay, so we now know that there's a difference between the United States of America and the United States. One is located somewhere, another one's located, and it's a conglomeration of the 50 states that they have today. Way back when, it was 13 states and it expanded. But right now, it's a conglomeration of the 50 states over a 240-year period. We can all establish that, correct? We have that established.
Yes.
Right, go ahead and stop sharing, please.
One moment.
Okay. Now, that being said, let me move this down a little bit. Let's go over to the Constitution of the United States. Okay. I believe there's an issue here, and there's going to be a major problem here in just a few minutes. Because when the president takes a oath and affirmation, he affirms and or takes an oath, he swears to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And I believe that's right here. He says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States, not the United States of America, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Everybody sees that?
Yes.
And you
Yes.
remember that it's extremely important that he does this because Obama had to take it twice because they messed up. He took it way out in front, and then there was something that wasn't said right or something like that. So they had to put it on camera, and he was standing in the hallway of the White House, and he took it again, and then they put that on tape because people were saying, "Hey, he didn't take the oath. He didn't take the oath." So we all know for a fact that in order to be the president of the United States, you absolutely have to take this oath. Can we all agree on that?
Concur.
Agreed.
Here's your problem, guys. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America.
That means there was a change in the style, everyone.
Whoops.
Which means there is no executive power under the 1789 Constitution because there is no president of the United States of America and never has been. The Constitution itself did not provide an oath of office for that office. And it's very clear that those are two separate offices. If a country doesn't have executive authority, that means that every law that Congress has ever passed has never been signed by a president of the United States of America. Because the president of the United States doesn't have executive power.
According to Article 2, Section 1.
That's right. Now you're telling me that for 240 years, nobody figured that out? You have all these constitutional scholars, and they've read this over and over again. Apparently they've studied it, and they never guessed or never thought that, wait a minute, there's no president of the United States of America, which means there's no executive power. The United States has not passed one law since its inception in 1789. Its inception was actually 1787. It can't pass a law if the president of the United States signs something into law without any executive power whatsoever. He never had it. And there's never been an oath to a president of the United States of America. He may claim it, but there's been no oath. He never took it because there was never an oath provided. Do you guys really think, all the listeners here, really believe that a king of the Netherlands is going to give you guys executive power to pass laws? Hell
Not very
no.
likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used that at barbecues and stuff. Drives the point home.
He may hold the office, but see, there's no office. This is why Roosevelt was able to go to a third term, because he was not a president of the United States of America, and he holds the office during a term of 4 years. together with the vice president, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. So he was able to go a third term. They knew this from the beginning. And you can't fix it now. It's done. It's over with. Treason against the United States is like treason against nothing because it never existed. Because it never had executive power. So where does the executive power end up? Back to the Articles of Confederation. As amended, May 5th, 2015. The executive power resides in the governor, the office of the governor. Folks, there is no difference between a federal and a state because there has never been a federal. It's never existed before. I didn't make it up. It's right in the document. You just never read the document because you never figured out there was a big difference between the United States of America and the United States, right here. I didn't change it.
Yeah, and if you're also thinking it might be a typo from another website, I mean, this is coming right out of the archives.gov.
.gov, right at the top. This is what they're claiming. So all the states coming together in Washington, D.C., passing some law has no force and effect anywhere because you don't have an executive branch to sign it into law. The whole executive branch never existed. That's the whole thing. The people of this country have been made fools of.
Big time. This is bad.
We said before that we were going to go over the flag last week. Do we really need to go over the flag now? Because the flag is null and void. Because there is no law under it.
That's
50
right.
State flag.
Yep.
Because there's no executive power. So you can have executive orders all day long. It doesn't matter. You don't have a president of the United States of America because there's no oath provided in the same Constitution. The people in Manhattan Island don't have any executive power. Why? Because they're subjects of the King of the Netherlands. Subjects do not have executive power. Only kings have executive power in their world under their constitutions. That's why they create their parliaments. Dun, dun, dun. You're done.
Kind of hard to dispute.
So therefore, the government of the United States of America is the only national government in existence in this country today. The government of the United States of America is the national government. It's the only one where the Confederation Party, now the North American National Party, amended the Articles of Confederation as it was specified back then to do, not replace it with some constitution that doesn't have any executive authority in it or executive power. It was to amend the Articles of Confederation, and that has been done. Actually, it's been done 3 times. The last one was May 5th, 2015. So, as the government of the United States of America is, and always will be, you need to start taking the continental dollar. There's some international crimes going on here.
Big ones.
Otherwise, the real executive authority will start writing some executive orders that have to be followed. Otherwise, you're in violation of what? The New Testament. Do as your government tells you. Respect it, all those fun things. So lawyers, we don't want to hear anything out of you. We'd rather hear from the people. But you guys need to back off.
Well, what are they going to say? They know. Now they know we know.
Mm-hmm.
Or now they know we're bringing it public.
BLM, you guys have no authority whatsoever in doing anything that you're doing because all of the land is under the 1775 Act. Always has been and always will. It's called the Land Ordinance of 1775. That's under the government of the United States of America. You didn't have any right to do what you were doing out there in the West. Taking land and doing all that stuff, had no right whatsoever. You didn't have any laws to follow. All the laws that you have are no laws at all because there's no executive power granted to the President of the United States. It never existed, folks. That's the way it is. If you can't deal with it, put your head in the sand for a while. Go watch a movie. Whatever you got to do to deal with it. This impacts the world. How many people are invested in this scam? It's a 240-year-old scam.
Yep, too many people.
And you got to realize that when the main subject matter throughout your whole life that you're hearing on the news and everything else about Constitution this and Constitution that become a part of your life every single day, that's when you know you're being you tell a lie long enough, eventually people will believe it.
Well, that's it. That's exactly the point, right? I mean, that's why you hear about the Constitution somewhere every single day to indoctrinate the mind. You know, it's mind control basically.
It's got you in so. I mean, what have they done, man? I mean, seriously, what have they done? It's unbelievable. All the investments and everything in bonds, they're all sham bonds. There is no executive treasury. They were using the original treasury seal until 1968 because they didn't have an executive branch. And they knew it. Sick, isn't it?
Yeah, think of the military deaths as well. It's bad.
It's sitting right there.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to bring this other part up if you want to. I know you have that. Like I said, it's going to be a short program because this was very easy to prove. All the evidence is right there in front of you on screen. If you want to argue about it with yourself. Go into a mirror and just argue because that's the only one basically that's going to listen, especially the host of the T-Row show. We're not going to listen to that. If you want to argue and take out your crap, take it out on something else. Go punch a pillow, go do whatever you got to do. Okay? Because you took an oath to something that has no executive power. It has no standing, folks. In any court. In anywhere. You don't have a Supreme Court.
It's all show. It's all show. All show.
Ceremonial at best.
Yep.
Didn't Leon Panetta say that? He says, well, you guys are ceremonial at best. We don't have to listen to you. All right, I'll stop sharing if you want to open up that. We got some very interesting stuff to talk about next week. We're going to be doing a lot more research on this. This was just rediscovered today. Stu, if you could open up Berbers. I saw it on your screen.
Yeah, just give me a second here. This was just side reading. It's not anything to be thoroughly absorbed at this point, because I don't know what it ultimately says. But
Okay. Folks, what you're watching at here, this is called The Berbers Have Occupied North Africa, specifically Maghreb. Keep going down. I was reading.
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Since the beginning of recorded history and until the Islamic conquest of the 8th century, constituted dominant ethnic group in the Saharan region. Modern Berber speakers and cultural practitioners are a minority in North Africa. Through Berber groups are considered descendants of the pre-Arab inhabitants of the region. Most classical texts are referred to as Libyans. And this is not Libya, the one you're talking about, that you think is Libya, okay? Not Gaddafi. All right. Now, if you go over to the real Berbers, okay, people are going to be extremely shocked because there's a group called the Moors over here calling themselves Moors, but I don't think they understand their real history. And we believe also that this could be where the Native American Indians came from also. Okay, I'm going to show some pictures here, and then we're gonna go in more depth this coming next T-Row show. If you go up here and you start looking at the Moroccans, okay. Now, does this individual look black to you, folks? The white Berbers and Moors in North Africa? What we're showing you here is this could possibly, we have not verified this yet, this could possibly be where what people think are Europeans came from. We're also finding a lot of things that are very interesting. Now, here are it's called the true Negro, the Berbers, the Moors, these folks here. In other words, guys, we might be from the same place, called the Berbers in North Africa. All of us may be from the same area, the ones that are in America today. There's some pictures. There you go. There's one. Who are the Berbers? There's a lot of different type of groups here. These are the North African Berbers right here. We all might be from the same place, which would bring this country together. This information. This is their flag. This is their symbol right here. We've also found a lot of their history. Just in looking at this today, this individual right here, which was Gaddafi, that might have been the reason why he was killed, because he tried to hide and or not recognize the existence of the Berbers that have been here way before he was. That could have been the reason why he was killed. This is the Berbers territory right here in North Africa. This might be where we're from. This goes all the way back before recorded history. This is the first of the recorded history. And that might be why America is what they call a melting pot. It's interesting. You can see a lot of their, the Illuminati all-seeing eye came from the Berbers. The Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre, their goddess, came from the Berbers. Most of the crosses came from them. It came from this culture. The Knights Templar cross came from them. The swastika came from them.
And what did you say this goes back to 5600 BC?
Yeah,
Something like
pretty
that?
much before recorded history.
Mm.
And this is, we've definitely seen some Native Americans. Do you see the star right here? They call that the Star of David, or the one that Israel's using. This came from the Berbers. All of their symbols that they had from this culture is being used all over the world, and they're putting on these different, what do you call it, angles on all these different symbols, representing them as something else, which it actually came from these people here. And the first Caesar came from the Berbers of Rome. So this definitely deserves a lot more. See, there's the symbol on the side of the face here. See, there's a girl. She's what are the Berbers closest to? That's the symbol up there. This is where what was that, aqua? I can never remember.
Poseidon?
Poseidon. That's where Poseidon came from.
Trident?
With the trident, yeah. And there was a thing with all their, there was a picture. Here's their language. Could be where your equal sign comes from. Right here. This is your history. So what the white community here, the black community, the Native American community may be closer than you think. I think some third party has come in and has us all fighting each other, not realizing we all come from the same area. That's very significant. Here's a picture. Looks a lot like Native Americans, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
These people were claiming, and they still are claiming today, to be from Atlantis, ancient Atlantis. That's what they're claiming, and they're claiming that this is a part of it. So there's a whole history we don't even know about, that we're not privy to understanding who we all are in America. It's been hidden from us for a very long time. If they can hide that they don't have executive power for 240 years, what else do you think they're hiding? But this is extremely important information that needs to be brought out. Anybody that wants to do some research and send it, we will definitely go over it, take a look at it. If I could find some of their symbols, you'll see the cross, you'll see all kinds of things, and it comes from North Africa. This area in North Africa has gone through more conquering and crap than you can ever imagine. Mixing of different tribes and all this kind of thing. And that's why a lot of people just didn't really recognize them on who they actually were. This is where the African kingdoms came from. And this is where the concept of kings and queens came from. But you can definitely see there are some features in here that really need to be looked at. So we might all be coming from the same place. Thank you for listening to the T-Row Show. We'll see you next week, and we should have a lot more information, hopefully, on this particular subject that we all really need to know. Say goodbye, fellers.
Good night.
Talk to you next week.